Greetings, this is the New York Thrifter, and we are on day 4 of our Flipping 20 challenge. During this challenge, I take a $20 bill and I start to sell on eBay women's clothing and seeing how much profit can be made. So, for the first video on day 1, we went through the materials that you're going to need along with how to source at thrift stores. Day 2, we looked at how to prep, photo, and price the items. Day 3, we wrote templates for eBay listings. And now on day 4, we're going through titles and keywords. The reason that titles on eBay are so important is this is the number one way that buyers are going to find your item. So I really suggest that you take your time with titles. It is very, very important if you want to increase sales or to increase attention that you're getting on eBay. One thing that I would like to recommend is if you have time to watch this video in its entirety. And the reason I say that is at the beginning, I go through and I create titles for some of the items, the clothing items that we've been working with from the beginning of this series. However, near the end, I have a few new clothing items that I bring out and I write titles for those using some different research to find keywords. One of the things that I do is I use Title Builder, which is a website that helps you come up with keywords if maybe you run out of ways to describe an item or if you're not necessarily up to date with the different language that is used to describe clothing. That's why I introduced that website. And so really there's different things happening in this video, so I do suggest you watch the whole thing. One last thing that I want to say is this is how I write my titles for eBay. There is no quote unquote right way to write a title or to pick out keywords. This is going to be different for every seller on eBay, and that's completely fine. Really what I'm trying to do with this video is not to say this is the only way that titles are written. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to give you additional tools to help you become successful on eBay. So if I am able to say anything or to give you any information that helps you, that is exactly why I'm doing this video. However, if something doesn't feel right for you or your listings, then that's great too, because then you're starting to understand a little bit better about what you want to do online and with your selling. And so either way, I do hope that you find this interesting and you get a lot of great information out of it. And without further ado, let's get to building those titles. Now, the first thing to remember whenever you're writing titles or using keywords is the customer. On eBay, it's all about the customer and how they're going to find your item. So whenever we list something, whenever we go through anything, we're always thinking, how is somebody going to type this into the search bar? And searching, depends on the person. I asked one of my coworkers to search eBay to find something that she needs in her closet. And she went onto eBay and she typed in size 8 black party dress. And for her, that's what she was looking for. And that's how she searched for it. I asked my husband the same question, and he went into his closet. He took out his favorite shirt, which was Ralph Lauren shirt. He had the exact size, the exact color. He knew that he wanted stripes on it, and he typed it all in and found the exact shirt in his size. So he searched very, very specifically for what he wanted, whereas my coworker searched for something a little bit more general because she was just looking, to see what was available. And so it's really going to depend on your customer, what they're looking for. So the best that we can do is we can give as much information about an item in the title using appropriate keywords as we can to get found. There are about 1 million ways to write a title to list a clothing item on eBay. What I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to go through the system that I've come up with that really shortens the time that it takes for me to write that title. Now, I want it to be complete and I want it to work for everyone, but at the same time, I don't want to have to sit and think about a title for a long period of time because this can really cut into my listing time. So what I've done is I've come up with a system that I like to use in order to write a title that has all of the pertinent information in it and doesn't take me a long time. So this is what I've done. Now we're always going to keep that customer in mind. So I'm going to keep that right here up on top. Excellent. Okay, so I always start out my listings with the brand. I then go to gender. Some people have asked me, do we really need to use gender in a title? For example, if you have a dress, do you really need to say woman's dress? And to this I say yes, because dress shows up in some men's categories as well. For example, dress shirt or dress pants. And so I do like to use the gender in my titles. But again, that's going to be up to you and what works for you. Next, I put in the item, and the item is it a sweater? Is it pants? Is it a skirt? The color and design. For example, maybe it's a blue skirt that has flowers on it. And so the design would be flowers, the color would be blue. The description or style. So this is just giving more information about the item. If it is a sweater, is it a cardigan? Is it an open cardigan? If it is a dress, is it a maxi dress, or is it a shift dress? And so I just like to keep that right there to give more information about the item. And then last, I like to put the size. The reason I like to put it at the end rather than closer to the beginning is because when you're reading through a title on eBay, it's really easy to find the size. If it's at the very end, your eyes kind of naturally go from left to right, and so it ends on size. So theoretically, if you can get all of these things in a title on eBay, your customer will have a great probability of being able to find your item. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a very specific example of how I list and how I write my titles up. So anybody that's been following the series is going to recognize this. This is my seller spreadsheet. Sorry for the shadows. I've got my my tripod that my camera is sitting on. So this is a spreadsheet that we've been filling out for this entire series. I purchased 5 different clothing items at a thrift store, and then I've written the color design, the size and measurements, the materials, the condition, cost of goods, how much they're going to ship for, and how much I want to list them at. And so with this information, you're going to be able to create your title and create your whole listing. So if you need more information on this, please go back through the series, and you're going to be able to find these in the other Flipping 20 videos. I will also link them below in the description box. But we're just going to start and write a title for this very first item on my list, which is a London Times dress. So let's get started. First thing that we need is a brand. Well, I've got the brand right here. It is London Times. Second thing is gender. So I am going to pop women's in right there. The item, it is a dress. Okay. Color and design, it is blue and white and black and gray. Ooh, that's a lot. It also has color blocking on it. Okay, so that's quite a bit. Now, the description and style. Well, as for style, it is a shift dress. That is the cut of the dress. And it's also, it's a career dress because it's one that you can wear to work. And finally, we've got size 10. Okay, so what I've done is everything that's on our list here, I have inputted right here. Okay, so I'm going to take our list away for just a minute while we get this sorted out. So as of right now, if we were to write this title, it would look something like this. London Times women's dress, blue, white, black, gray, color block, career, shift, size 10. Now, there's a few things about this that can be a little problematic. The first being, when you're writing a title and using keywords for an eBay listing, this is way too many letters. You are only allowed 80 characters and able to write your title. And those characters not only include letters and numbers, they also include any spaces or any punctuation that you use. And so this is not going to make it into a title because it's just too long. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to decide, are any of these words extra, or can we maybe downsize a little bit on them? And the first thing that I'm seeing is, even though there is black on the dress isn't mainly black, and it's a very small part of it. So just in effort to get rid of one of the words, I'm actually just going to take the black right out of there. Another thing that I would be able to do is, I do have punctuation on women's. I can take that out and I can put women's in like this. So already we've got less characters. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this and I'm going to see, is there anything that I can change to make this easier for the customer to read? Now, it being a shift dress is actually a really great selling point for this dress. And so I'm actually going to move that up to where it reads shift dress. And so not only does it move it up to make it closer to the beginning, but it's believed that Cassini, which is eBay's searching algorithm, gives more weight to the words that happen at the beginning of a title rather than at the end. So by adding shift dress up there to the top, when somebody's looking for a shift dress, we have a better chance of our dress showing up higher in the search. Okay, so London Times women's shift dress. Color, blue, white, gray color block. That looks just fine, and it is used for career, and it is a size 10. Now, the only other change I'm going to make to this, because we are getting into, the right number of characters, is I'm actually going to add 2 pieces of punctuation. Now, some people choose not to do this, but I like to do this, so it's completely up to you. Remember, our number one focus is always going to be the customer and how easy it's going to be for the customer to be able to read the listing. So in order to do that, I'm going to add a dash right here, and I'm going to add a dash right here. So I put a piece of punctuation after the bit about it being a dress and before the size. And this way I find that it's a little easier, at least for me to read, and hopefully it's going to be easier for my customer to read. Now, obviously this is going to change depending on, what you're typing in and what you're focusing on. But in general, I really do try to include at least 1 or 2 dashes just to kind of break things up to make it easier to read. Now, some people will ask, if you're adding punctuation, should you also add commas in between some of, like, for instance, the colors? You can add those. That's perfectly acceptable if you have the space to do it, or if you feel like it's just too much information at once and your customer needs that space, then please, by all means, add those commas. For this particular title, I didn't, because when I look at how many characters we use, we are right at 79 characters, which means from the 80 characters, we have just 1 left. There's not a whole lot you can do with 1 character. We could, pop women's back in with the punctuation if we wanted, but really that's not necessary. This, to me, is a really complete title that's going to be easy for the customer to use and easy for Cassini to find, so it will show up in the search. So here is the example of the very first title that we're going to come up with. Now, let's talk about a few other things that you might encounter when you're writing a title. For example, if this was a new with tags London Times dress, so maybe you'd be wanting to put new with tags there in the beginning. Let's shift some of this over. Boom. Okay, so maybe you want to put new with tags in the beginning. The only problem with this is not all your customers would know what NWT is, new with tags. So I do not suggest using that. Another thing some people use is BNWT, which is brand new with tags. I find this confusing as well. Again, if there's somebody new to the site, they might not know what that acronym means. And so whenever I have anything that is new with tags, I just use the word new at the beginning. New London Times women's shift dress. Now we've added a few more characters here, which means we might have to take a few characters out of here. So for example, I might take out gray. So we'd have a new London Times women's shift dress, blue, white, color block, career, size 10. So that might be our new listing. So that's how I deal with new with tags. Now somebody might say, well, wait a second, I want to write more condition notes. What if I want to put EUC? Again, not everyone knows that this means excellent use condition, so I do not recommend putting EUC in it. VGC is something else people use, so they try to put VGC right there. Well, not everyone knows that means very good condition. So as for condition notes in the title, I do not recommend. The only time I put condition notes in the title is if I am going to be putting in new, or if I'm going to be putting in the dreaded flaw. So if there was something wrong with this London Times dress, say it had a small tear or a button was missing or a stain, your buyer needs to know that there is something wrong with the item before they buy. Because if they don't know there's something wrong with it and they purchase it, they're either going to want to return it or they're going to be dissatisfied and they might leave you a low rating. You can't count on them for always reading your entire description later on in your listing. So I always put it right here in the title so they know exactly what they're getting. I use the term flaw. You can also, if it had a hole in it, you might want to put hole or stain or whatever's wrong with it. But in this case, say that there was a stain on my dress. I would probably take out gray to give me a few extra characters. And then I might put that right at the end. So when they're reading through this, they're going to see that there is a flaw. And when they read your description and look at your pictures, you're going to be disclosing what that flaw is. So again, the only two times I like putting condition in is whether it's new with tags where I write new, or if there is something wrong or a defect with the item where I put flaw. Okay, so something else I want to talk about is sometimes there are different sizing options. We have right here a size 10 because the dress that we picked up is a regular size 10. However, we might get a petite piece. So if there is a petite piece, I always put that right with the size. And we would obviously have to get rid of maybe some of the colors or maybe career to put that petite in. That's going to be very important for your buyer to know that this is a petite cut. Some other unusual cuts might be tall. And usually tall, some dresses have tall, but a lot of times it'll be maybe a pair of jeans or a pair of pants will have tall. There also might be one that says short in it. So I do recommend putting that right with your size because again, your buyer needs to know that that's a tall. Something else that I like to do if it's a plus size, so if it is like a size 12, or I'm sorry, a size 14, 16 or above, what I like to do is I like to put in plus size. So let's pretend this is a size 20. So what I would do is I would take out this to give me some characters back, and I would put in London Times women's shift dress, blue, white, color block, career, plus size 20. And by doing this, anybody that is specifically looking for a plus size, not only will they see the number that the plus size is, but maybe they just put in plus size. And so you want to put in that word plus as well, because that is an excellent search term. There's a lot of, women in America that are above the 14, 16 mark, and they are absolutely looking on eBay for clothes. And so you want to cater to them when you have an appropriate item. Okay, so let's talk about a few other things. Okay, right now we have career in the title because the shift dress that we picked up very much can be, worn to work. You can look very professional in it. There are some other keywords that you might want to think about. For example, if this was a really fancy dress that you're going to wear out, you might want to put evening in the title. This is a really good descriptor because a lot of women are looking for dresses that they can wear, out on a date or to go have a night on the town. Prom is a good one. If you have a formal dress, you can use the term formal in the title. You can use the word prom in the title, and this is absolutely something that is searched for on eBay. Another really good one is party. If you have maybe a cocktail dress that would be fun to wear out to a party, then you can put that in the title. And so these are just examples of some different keywords other than, career that you can use specifically for women's clothing. Something else you want to think about is the term modest. Now, modest is used when an outfit is just that, modest. It has a high neckline, a low hemline, and it doesn't show off a lot of arms. And so it has maybe longer sleeves or 3/4 length sleeves. Modest is another one of those terms that is really popular. People are looking for a more modest outfit. So if you have an outfit that really is modest and covers up a lot of the wearer's skin, then this would be a good one. So instead of career, you might pop that in for one of your keywords. And finally, I feel like we should talk a little bit about holidays. And I just printed out Christmas here, but this could be Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, 4th of July, really any item that is really specific for a holiday, you can put that in the title as well. For example, with Valentine's Day coming up, if you had a shirt that had, red hearts all over it, you might want to put Valentine's Day in the title. If you have an ugly Christmas sweater, you definitely want to put Christmas in that title so people can find it. Maybe you have a shirt with a big American flag on it and you want to mark it 4th of July. This would be great because people definitely look for clothing specific to holidays. So that's absolutely something that you want to think about. So once again, we're back with the list of everything that I like to include in my title. And we're going to go through titles for the other pieces of clothing that we've picked up for our Flipping 20 challenge. So first up, let's discuss our Anthropologie Sparrow sweater. So we've got the brand right here. This is going to be women's. The item is a cardigan. It has flowers that are blue. Sorry, gotta grab that. Blue flowers. Description, it is a button up and it is a size small. So we have Anthropologie Sparrow women's cardigan, blue flowers, button up, size small. So let's take these away and see how that works. The first thing that I'm seeing is we have a few more characters to work with. So this is what I want to do. I have cardigan here, but I'm also going to put in sweater. A cardigan is a specific type of sweater that buttons up in the front. So somebody might type in sweater not knowing that they're looking for something that buttons up. So that's why I'm going to do that. The next thing that I am going to do is I am going to put in a couple of these. Boom. So now I have Anthropologie Sparrow women's cardigan sweater, blue flowers, button up, size small. This works really well for me. We even have one extra space. So if you wanted to get really crazy, you could put in a comma here before your button up, but that's not necessary. So we have used every single character and we have given a lot of different keywords that's going to allow our buyers to find us in search. So I'm really happy with this title. Now, something that I do want to talk about that we didn't hit earlier is sometimes people like to use different descriptors like wow or look or nice. A lot of people don't necessarily use these types of descriptors to look up an item. So, for example, if we've used all of our characters and we wanted to use one of these, we would have to lose something in here in order to put in wow. So, what happens if we take out sweater and we put in wow? Wow, Anthropology Sparrow, women's cardigan. Well, wow doesn't really mean anything. And I can't think of a reason why I'd ever type in wow to search for a sweater. The same thing with look with the two ats. I don't think anybody in the history has ever actually looked for something with two ats in it like that. So really what you want to think about, these types of words are not going to get people to find anything on search. However, by adding in as much proper description as you can, that is the way to maximize your search. And we are back to it again with our list of everything we want to include in the title. So next up, we have a J. Crew, which is our brand, women's dress. Now, we were lucky enough for J. Crew to have a style number, which means we were able to look this up online and find the exact name of the J. Crew dress. So it's a J. Crew women's dressy jersey dress. We need the color, which is going to be black. Design is high waist. Description style, it has a ruffle with stretch. Whenever possible, I always like to use stretch whenever there's spandex in an item, because a lot of women really like wearing stretch items. And so I like to include that when at all possible. And the size is extra small. So for this particular title, everything is looking really good. What I would probably do, because we do have a little bit of space, is I would probably put punctuation there, and I'd probably put punctuation there. So this would read, J. Crew women's dressy jersey dress, black, high waist, ruffle stretch, size extra small. And we have only one character left, which means we are done. We have next 41 Hawthorne women's popover top. And we figured out the popover when we were doing research for this shirt. We found that as one of the keywords when we were looking at different items. The color is blue and white chevron. And it is a size. Now, the description and style, popover counts for the description and style. So I don't need to write another description here, but I do need to decide on the size, which is small. Now, one other thing that we found when we were looking up this type of shirt, that it is sold by Stitch Fix, and Stitch Fix does really well in searches. So I'm going to put that here. I'm going to put in our normal punctuation. There we go. Okay, so for this title, we have 41 Hawthorne, Stitch Fix, women's, popover top, blue, white chevron, size small. And I'm looking at my notes and it looks like we have one character left. So that's done. We can't do anything with one character, so we'll leave it at that. Okay, here is the last title that we're going to be doing using this system. Pretty soon we're going to jump onto the computer and be using the computer, but I wanted to just show you the last piece that we got for Flipping 20. The brand is Athleta. Gender is women's. The item is the fastest track top with long sleeves. Now again, we were really lucky with Athleta. They always put their style number on their pieces. So we were able to look this right up online, which takes care of the item and also a lot of the description right there. For the color, it is blue. Part of that description, I also kind of want to put in workout, because that's where you would wear it. You'd wear it while you were working out. And for the size, we're going to go extra large. So we've got an Athleta women's fastest track top with long sleeves, blue, workout, size extra large. Now we do have a few more characters to work with. So I'm going to put a dash right in there and then a dash right before our size. So this would be the title and give our customers all of the information that they would need to know about this piece. Now, like I said, I'm going to be switching over to the computer so I can give you more information on how to look for descriptive keywords and how to write titles. So we're going to be writing titles for 3 more pieces, and let me show you what they are. The first one is going to be a description for this soft surroundings shrug. This is a woman's shrug with long sleeves. So we are going to be writing a title for this particular piece. We will also be writing a title for this Chico's very long maxi skirt. So we will be writing a title for this using the computer. And finally, we're going to be writing a title for this. This is a Lucky Brand top in red and white. So stay tuned and we will hop onto the computer and I will show you how to find keywords and how to write titles for these 3 pieces. As promised, we're heading over to eBay and the computer, clicking on My eBay, and we are going to start selling. Sell an item. The first item that we are going to be looking at is going to be women's sweaters. I'm going to start listing. Now, title. So the first piece that I showed you is going to be that soft surroundings shrug. We always start with the brand. So soft surroundings. We go to the gender, women's. The item is a shrug. The color is deep red. It has long sleeves and it is a size large. So this has all of the information that is required. However, we're only at 16 characters, so we have more things that we would be able to add. So what I suggest you do is I suggest you go to a website called Title Builder. That's title-builder.com. And I have this linked down in the description if you want to look at it. I'm going to click on their Title Builder service, and I'm going to type in women's shrug. And what this is going to do is this is going to give me some suggestions for other keywords that I'm going to be able to use in my title. So let's see. It suggests sweater. I really like that. So I'm going to go back. Sorry, all these pop-ups. I'm going to go back to my listing and I'm going to put a sweater shrug. Okay, good. Back to keywords. They also suggest knit, size, long, cropped, bolero. Okay, I actually like open and I like cropped because it is short. So what happens if I put open, out of letters? Okay, so the first thing that I need to decide is, are all of these things important? I am going to go back and I'm actually going to take out the deep red. And the reason I'm doing that is anybody looking at the picture can see that it's a very deep red. So I'm going to take that out. I'm going to add cropped. Okay, now I'm at 0 characters. So theoretically, this is looking good. This is exactly what we want. However, I'm finding this a little difficult to read. I would really like if I could add in a couple of pieces of punctuation to make it easier to read. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put size L for large. I'm going to put a dash here and a dash here. So again, I am left with 0 characters. However, I feel like this is easy to read, and I feel like this has a lot of great keywords in it, so people will be able to find the piece. Soft Tyrannies women's sweater shrug, red, long sleeves, open, cropped, size large. Okay, so we have our title. Let's go to try another title. This time we are going to be doing the Chico's skirt that I showed you. So up first we type in our brand. Chico's. Next is gender. That is going to be women's. Item is a skirt. Color is black, turquoise. The design or description, it is long and it is a size 1. Now, Chico's has proprietary sizing or vanity sizing where they size everything themselves. So obviously it's not a size 1 as in a very small junior size. Instead, we are going to go to Google. We are going to look up Chico's size chart. Okay. And on the size chart, we are at chicos.com. And on the size chart, we are going to see when they call it a size 1, it is actually a medium size 8. So we're at medium size 8. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to type in medium 8. Okay. So looking at this, we have 19 characters left. So there's more keywords that we would be able to add into this title. So I'm going to go back to Title Builder. And this time I'm going to type in long skirt to see if there's any other words that really pop when you want to focus on a long skirt. Women pleated, that doesn't work. Dress doesn't work. Maxi. Maxi is a great term to use. I definitely want to use that. So, maxi. Excellent. What else is in this title builder? Oh, it says elastic and waist, which we definitely have, are 2 keywords that people often search for. So let's see what we can do. Elastic waist. Okay. Liking that. Another keyword that they use, and I usually like to use, is stretch. They also use print. I think I want to use the word print because there is a great print on it, but we are out of characters. So now what we need to do is we need to go back and we need to decide, do we need all of these words? I don't think we do. I'm actually going to get rid of long. I'm also going to get rid of that size 8 and just keep medium. Okay, now we've got a little extra room. Print. With 4 characters left, I'm going to go here and put in, there we go. So now we're at 0 characters. The only other thing that I think I want to do here is I actually want to take this word maxi and I want to put it with skirt. So now it's Chico's women's maxi skirt, black, turquoise, elastic waist, print, size 1 medium. Okay, that is going to be my title. I'm out of characters, and so that works just fine. We've got one more piece I told you we would work on. Now for this next one, instead of going to Title Builder, I want to show you how important it can be to look up comps on eBay to find words that other sellers are using. Okay, so first up, let's type in what we know. The brand is Lucky Brand. The gender is women's. It is a top. It is it is red and white, long sleeve, size small. Okay, now we've got lots of more characters we'd be able to use. So I'm going to go to eBay, Lucky Brand, women's, red, white, top. That is going to be a comp or other people that are selling it, comparison to what other people are selling. And when I scroll through, I am seeing that is the exact shirt that we are selling. And so what we can do is we can look at some of the words that they're using to describe their top. So they used thermal, waffle, taut, shirt, tribal, red, white, boho. Okay, so these could be definitely some good words. Another thing that you can try is you can go over to the left-hand side here in the menu and click on sold listings. The reasons you might want to search for sold is these are actually been found by customers and customers have purchased them. So if they're using different words in their titles, maybe that's a word that we want to use. So here we see women red white Lucky Brand Henley style top blouse size medium. Okay, so that's great. So I feel like we've got a couple of really great keywords to add. Let's see. I really liked the term Henley. Thermal was also used along with waffle knit. Now I don't have enough room to type that in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out long sleeve because anybody looking at the picture will see that. Lucky Brand women's top. Red, white, Henley, thermal, waffle knit, size small. Okay, so it looks like we've used all but 5 characters. I'm not sure if there's necessarily another word. You know, boho was used, so we could actually type that in to go to 0 characters. So that actually might work. Okay, so Lucky Brand women's top, red, white, Henley, thermal, waffle knit, boho, size small. So this is going to be our title for this piece. We used other people's listings on eBay, successful listings on eBay, to find out what people are going to be searching for.